Florida tonight, hosting one of the most anticipated games of the NFL season. It's the Bucs, led by Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, against the Chiefs, led by Patrick Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks of his generation. Sunday Night Football just over an hour away here on NBC. Good evening, everyone. I'm Maria Taylor alongside Tony Dungy, and yes, there is a football game tonight, but of course it comes just days after Hurricane Ian devastated much of Florida. The Tampa area avoided most of the storm, but the same cannot be said, unfortunately, for communities farther south of here, on the Gulf Coast and throughout Central Florida, and all the way to the East Coast. The devastation of Hurricane Ian has been felt far and wide, and our thoughts are certainly with those who have been impacted. But Coach, you are a longtime resident of Tampa. You've been here for 26 years. You understand what it's like to go through an event like this. How would you describe what the state has been through?
Yeah, it's very, very difficult, Maria, for people who live here, because you have to make decisions and you don't have all the information. There are some areas in our city where you're forced to evacuate. It's low-lying, you're close to water, and they say you've got to leave. But for many of us, you've got to make that decision. How do you do it? When is the storm coming? Is it going to hit us? And you don't know, so you just have to pray, you have to prepare, and you just have to wait. And that's what people did here. Fortunately for us, we weren't hit hard right here in Tampa, but we all have relatives, we all have friends in other areas who did experience loss of power, loss of property, loss of life, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, still close to 1 million people without power here in the state of Florida. Coach, we're certainly happy that you and your family are okay. And there were questions if tonight's game would even be played here in Tampa, but the city's mayor, Jane Castor, was among those who emphatically wanted the game to go on.
Yeah, and I think she made the right decision, because Tampa was not hit hard. We didn't experience a lot of trauma. We've had 3 beautiful days, and people want to get some energy back. And I think everyone's excited to play this game. We know what the outlying areas are, but hopefully we can bring some joy to them in the midst of all this trauma.
Yeah, we know that this game can bring people together, and we also know that the NFL family has already come together in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. And tonight you can visit NFL.com/auction to bid on authentic and game-worn items and support the American Red Cross's relief efforts. You can also visit redcross.org/NFL or text Ian to 90999 to make a $10 donation and help those in need. Now, on Thursday, the Bucs owners, the Glazer family, said they will donate $1 million to assist in relief efforts across the state. The NFL Foundation later matched that donation, and Tom Brady also announced he'll be making a donation to the Florida Disaster Fund, while the Chiefs have contributed to the relief efforts as well. And tonight, the Bucs will also activate Florida Strong. Those are relief efforts raising funds to support those impacted and honoring first responders and emergency personnel. For more on this past week from the Bucs perspective, let's go to Jack Collinsworth and Rodney Harrison.
Yeah, Maria, from the Bucs team perspective, they went to Miami on Tuesday. They get a full week of practice down there at the Dolphins facility. They come back on Friday afternoon. I know you talked to some players throughout the week, so what'd you hear?
They said they can't stop thinking about the storm and how it impacted so many people. They also said going to Miami, taking their families, they got a chance to bond and get closer as a team. But they also told me they had a good week of practice, and them boys are ready to play.
Yeah, that's right. They brought family members down. Some of them drove. They even took pets along for the ride. I'm told there was a whole bunch of dogs, as you would expect, and even a rabbit made the trip, a pet rabbit. This is not your traditional home game at all. Maria Taylor.
Well, you're right, Jack, but we still have plenty more to come on our show. I had a conversation with Patrick Mahomes, and we talked about his role in football's evolution and some of the advice he's received from the GOAT, Tom Brady. Plus, Tyreek Hill's gone. Should the Bucs be afraid of Juju Smith-Schuster and the Chiefs' offense? And Shaq Barrett certainly isn't. We'll share what he had to say about the opportunity ahead for Tampa's pass rush. All that's coming up. But for now, let's go to the studio and Ahmed Fareed.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. Holding down the fort here in studio, trying to keep Chris Sims, Jason Garrett in check. We're looking at the early games here to start. And from those early games, what's your headline, Jason?
Hey, how about the Buffalo Bills? Last week, the heartbreaking loss in Miami. They're down 20-3 in Baltimore.
Right.
Great job at the end of the half. Josh Allen throws the touchdown, makes it 20-10, and they just keep on coming. This guy is something else, can do it with his arm, does it with his feet, and they come back down 17 to beat Baltimore at their place.
Pretty impressive, Coach. I'm going to go with another team on the East Coast here, the Philadelphia Eagles, which I think it's safe to say is the best team in football through 4 weeks right now. Got down 14-0 early, made some mistakes, but the defense brings them back, causes 5 turnovers, along with a strong running game and Jalen Hurts making a few plays. Eagles undefeated and looking good, Ahmed.
I got that other Pennsylvania team. How about the Steelers and Kenny Pickett, the rookie quarterback, making his debut, coming in the second half? Some good, some bad. Couple of rushing touchdowns here. Also did throw 3 interceptions. Mike Tomlin yet to name who the starting quarterback is going to be moving forward, but he got his first action out there. Zach Wilson did bring the Jets back. We'll talk about that here in a bit. But what'd you think of Kenny Pickett?
I think overall really positive. He gave the team energy, right? And the game didn't look too big for him. I mean, he looked like he was very comfortable playing quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
As a coach, when you have a rookie quarterback go in there, all you're looking at is demeanor. Does the guy look like he belongs? He certainly does. He walked out there like he owned the place.
Right.
It was up and down. He made some mistakes, but he's going to be their quarterback.
Yeah, made some good throws under pressure. He looked apart.
His demeanor and then how he reacts from this game moving forward. I love watching those young quarterbacks, the rookie quarterbacks. But you know what? I'm also biased to the all-time greats, the Tom Brady's, the Patrick Mahomes.
They're kind of good.
We got them tonight.
We're about to witness the 6th meeting between Mahomes and Brady. So we're going back in time to 2018 to round 1. It was 946 total yards of offense.
You see that?
He did, but guess what, guys? This was a game that was won 43-40 by Brady with those legs.
Coach, we were there right at that game.
Unbelievable, back and forth.
Yes, Brady became the first QB in NFL history to win 200 regular season starts. Meanwhile, that was Mahomes' first loss as a starter because this was his first season as a starter. Nice little handshake there. Let's see what happens in round 2. Take us to the AFC Championship game.
This game, too.
All right, wild back and forth. You remember the 4th quarter featured 38 total points, Coach.
Yeah, and Tom Brady, once again, bringing them back when they needed that big drive.
All right, Mahomes didn't get to touch the ball during overtime. Patriots win the coin toss. Brady's off to go and play the Rams and Super Bowl 53 and gets his 6th Super Bowl win.
Yes, D Ford lined up all sides.
You remember that.
I remember
it's the little things.
The detail.
And tonight we get round 6. Brady's up right now 3-2, but Patrick Mahomes making his way out onto the field. He would eventually get his moment against Brady. And this week I got my moment sitting down with the Chiefs quarterback to chat about the impact of his signature Mahomes magic.
What a play! Mahomes is simply special.
Do you ever think about the fact that you are playing a role in the evolution of the game?
I think about it a little bit, but at the same time, I just try to go out there and compete. If it's the sidearm throws or if it's the scrambling around and making stuff happen, instead I'm trying to go out there and win. You've seen more and more quarterbacks being able to do that, and I think it's more people that put the quarterback in those positions. They want guys that want to go out there and compete at the end of the day.
Okay, let me ask you this. You got to keep it real. You're a high school coach, okay, and you're teaching a kid how to play quarterback. Do you show them the sidearm throws? Are you letting them, like, go out and do their thing? Like, how would you coach up a kid these days?
So I always go back to the fundamentals first. So you got to learn the fundamentals. You got to perfect those. And once they perfect the fundamentals, I tell them you can have some fun and try some stuff out. That's how I was taught. As long as it worked, they were fine with it. But if it didn't work, I wasn't allowed to do it again.
Okay, so it clearly has been working because no one's told you to stop.
We worked our ass off in this opportunity right here. Believe that you're ready to go out there and dominate.
How much of that rookie mindset, like you don't know what you don't know, do you still possess today?
I've definitely gotten better at learning what defenses are trying to do to combat what we do and taking the easy completion, not always going for the home run. But I'm still going to go through my reads and look for that big alert guy down the middle of the field because he might just be open.
You know, I loved being able to ask Patrick Mahomes about how he would act as a high school coach because he gives so much credit to all his coaches allowing him to be creative. Andy Reid, Cliff Kingsbury, even his high school coach, Adam Cook. What did you think about his response, Coach?
Well, I thought it was great. If I'm a high school coach, so I'm telling my kids to have fun, but if you throw a ball like this, I'm telling them you are Patrick Mahomes.
That's it.
I know exactly what Coach Dungy would say to somebody on the field doing that, but what about the guy on the other sideline, Tom Brady, and how he might feel going up against a young phenom like Patrick Mahomes?
Well, Tom wants to win anytime he steps on the field. And when he's playing against older, great players like Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning, he takes his game to the next level. But he has this special motivation when he's playing against young guys like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I know that feeling because whenever we played you guys, when we had Peyton Manning, I always met with our defensive guys. You know you're going to get the best of Tom Brady. He wants to outperform any quarterback he plays against.
And I'm going to tell you, Maria, what I love about these guys, they're terrific leaders. When they win, they give their teammates and they give their coaches credit. When they lose, they take the blame. Terrific leaders.
Hey, ding, ding, ding. We're waiting for round 6 to happen. You can watch that full interview, though, on NFL on NBC YouTube channel. Okay, is there anything Patrick Mahomes can't do? In high school, he played basketball. Look at him giving buckets. He throws dimes. He gets hoops.
That's a bad boy right there. That's my hero.
Get back to the highlights now. We're starting in Houston. Chargers against the Texans. Chargers had a big lead. Evaporated, though, in the fourth quarter.
It did. It evaporated. Justin Herbert was phenomenal, but this guy was phenomenal. Austin Eckler was good on the ground and in the pass game today, Ahmed.
3 touchdowns today for Austin Eckler, the first touchdowns of the season for him. Herbert, yes, 340 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Chargers win by 10. They hold on, snapping that 2-game losing streak. Titans and Colts. Derrick Henry, 143 total yards and a touchdown in Tennessee's win last week. Jason, he was rolling again.
Hey, vintage Tennessee Titans, hand him the ball. Hand it to him inside, hand it to him outside, give him the ball. And a lot of good things happen for the Titans. They balance throughout. Starts with that guy right there.
147 total yards today. Fourth quarter, though, Titans led by as many as 21. Colts coming back, but, man, Matt Ryan did not have a whole lot of time.
Matty Ice was bringing him back. A couple big touchdown throws late, but Autry gets the late sack to preserve the win for the Titans.
And Nico Autry, a former Colt, doing damage against his former team. Jonathan Taylor did leave the game with an ankle injury. Frank Wright doesn't know the latest there. An update. Browns, Falcons, take it to the end here. Jacoby Brissett trying to bring the Browns back.
Yeah, trying to make something happen on 3rd and 23, but gutsy win by Atlanta. 2-2. Mariota made some big throws. They were good in the run game. Good for the Falcons.
One more to show you here. Jets and Steelers. Kenny Pickett making his debut. The Steelers, though, was sluggish in the first half. Some good and some bad. Here's the good, Coach.
Hey, free rusher in his face. He stands in there and throws a strike. Look at this guy.
Talking some trash.
He sure is.
He's using his arm, his mouth, his
legs here.
Scored a couple touchdowns for these guys. Played in that stadium in college. Looked like he belonged.
Fourth quarter, though, Steelers up 3. This is where it starts to go wrong.
Well, yep, this is a rookie.
Got to understand the situation. You're up 3 with 3 and change to go. He's late with the ball. He's high with the ball. Gives the Jets a chance. And Zach Wilson takes advantage.
Totally took advantage down by the goal line. There's the rookie, Breece Hall. Was not originally ruled the touchdown. They took another look at it. Said, yep, he just barely got in.
Good
touchdown
ball.
Jets. They come back to win against the Steelers. 24-20 is the final score. So, Kenny Pickett was the story, but Zach Wilson stole the show at the end of it. What'd you see from him?
Well, very impressive. I think when you take into account, too, right, he only played 1 snap in the preseason, or 1 drive in the preseason, and then you're down in Pittsburgh by 10 points. You've thrown a pick 6 and a late second quarter interception. They needed him to make great decisions and big-time throws like you just saw right there to Wilson down the middle. Throws a laser there. Here a little later on in the drive, 4th down, Corey Davis. Another great decision, big throw. You can see a guy here that's got a quick release and a strong arm and the ability to get outside the pocket when he needs to, Ahmed. But this was impressive. Just knew where he wanted to go to the ball. Didn't look like a guy that was a second-year quarterback who hadn't played a whole lot, Jason.
Hey, Sim, the #1 trait for a quarterback is instinct, the aptitude to play the game, and he showed that today. You see the athleticism, you see the quick stroke, made a lot of good throws. Mental toughness at the end of the game to come back was big time.
Yeah, limited action in the preseason, like you mentioned, just needed the whole game to get going. You saw his fourth quarter stats there, lighting it up, bringing the Jets back in that one. We told you earlier, Mike Tomlin has not named a starter yet for next week. All right, let's bring in Mike Florio now at Pro Football Talk. Mike, one of the big stories in football over the last week, the injury situation surrounding Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. You've been on top of this throughout, breaking much of the news. What's the latest?
Two important things happening, Ahmed, between the NFL and the NFL Players Association. First, there will be changes made to the concussion protocol, and second, the investigation is ongoing as to whether or not the current protocol was followed last Sunday. As to the biggest change to the concussion protocol, the term we heard so much the past week, gross motor instability, the wobbliness from Tua Tagovailoa. In the future, when that happens, regardless of the reason, the player is done for the day. No exceptions and no loopholes. As the investigation, the NFL Players Association intends to ask Tua Tagovailoa this week a very simple question. If it was your back, if you told the doctors it was your back, what did they do to examine your back? And the broader point is this. If Tua had a back injury that caused him to wobble and nearly fall, shouldn't he have been ruled out because of the back injury? So the league and the union really working together here, trying to find a way to make the concussion protocol less of a checklist for letting a guy back onto the field and more of a device for protecting players. And the union wants the doctors to treat the players not like football players, but like patients, and to put their best interests as human beings above their desire to get back on the football field. That's one of the reasons why the union exercised its right to terminate the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant who was involved in clearing Tua to play last weekend.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. It was good to see on Friday, Tua did release a statement saying that he is feeling much better. He is focused on recovering. For more, let's go back out to Tampa and Maria.
Thanks, Ahmed. You know what Mike Florio said right there, that the players, they're not a checklist, but they're a patient is very important, because at the end of the day, it's unacceptable to have any mistakes made when it deals with head trauma or head injury. But we were sitting there in the screening room together. We watched Tua get hit. We also watched him stumble to get up. What was your reaction when he returned to the game last Sunday, Coach?
Well, I was very surprised, because to me, it looked like a concussion. Now, obviously, I'm not there, but I think you always err on the side of caution there, and I was surprised he went back in.
Maria, when I was at my son's football game, and I was watching the game from my phone, and when I saw it, it scared me, because I thought about my two boys. I thought about my two boys that play football, 15 years old and 18 years old. It also made me think about my buddy Junior Seau, my mentor, my friend, my brother, and what he meant to me, and seeing him repeatedly take those head trauma hits, go back in the football game time and time again. It just brought a lot of bad memories.
Well, you bring up a strong point in the fact that, you know, players can't be allowed to assess themselves. There has to be some type of guardrails essentially protecting these players or patients, whether it's a concussion or not. Head trauma can have an everlasting effect on someone, as you said, with your former teammate, Junior Seau. But, Ronnie, you played in this league for 14 years. 15. I'm sure you dealt with concussions, Rodney. What would you go back and tell yourself in 2005 when you're first starting out and dealing with head injuries?
Number one, I would say it's not worth it. If I was that guy, Coach, I would get hit, my head, the entire stadium is spinning around, and I would go back into the game. It's not worth it, Maria. Yeah. And I would implore these young men, don't go back on that football field if you get hurt, because I don't want them to have to feel like me and so many other former players that had to deal with concussions, whether it's depression, anxiety, paranoia, broken relationships, not being able to communicate with your spouse and things like that. It's a lot. CTE takes you to a dark place, and I want these players to know it's not worth it. Please take care of yourself. Don't depend on the NFL. Don't depend on anybody. If something's wrong with your head, report it.
And Rodney, your advice is good and it's true, but we understand that most of the players are like you when you were young, and they want to play. So those safeguards have to be in place, and they were in place. My last few years of coaching, I had so many guys come to me and say, Coach, I feel good, but they're not allowing me to play. That is the right thing to do. That's the way it should be. No one wants to send someone out there who is not healthy and not ready to go, but we can't rely on the player to tell them. We've got to rely on those tests. We've got to rely on the neurological findings. That needs to be done.
And also, Maria, nobody's going to think you're soft or you're weak or anything like that if you're reporting. So please, I tell you again, please report it if something's wrong with your head, because life after football is serious. 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, you're going to feel the effects of CTE.
And, Coach, what you bring up is a great point. It's a culture of next man up. Is someone else going to take my spot? And that fear of being out and being held out will keep you from reporting. But at the same time, like we said, those objective guardrails have to be in place. They have to be monitored. And really, it has to be executed perfectly. But there are other changes maybe that could happen that could also protect against some of the issues that we're seeing with injuries in general, Coach.
See, when I was coaching, when this idea of Thursday night football came into play, I was wondering how we're going to do it. it. My opinion, we need to change that. If we're playing on Thursday night, teams need to have a bye before so you don't play every 4 days. When I was coaching and we had a Thursday game coming, you always thought about that. It was in the back of your mind, trying to get your guys rested up. I think we need to make some changes there and look at the scheduling, give teams a bye.
All right, well, those players, they are people first, and we hope certainly that their concerns are being taken really, really seriously. And all of our thoughts and prayers are with Tua, anyone else dealing with injuries to the neck, head, shoulders, and back. We'll be back at Tampa Bay after this.
This is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
Back in Tampa for the 6th meeting between Brady and Mahomes, and Rodney Brady's been around for 23 years. You can't fool this guy. So how would you go about playing him at this?
Well, first of all, you're not trying to fool Tom Brady. You're just trying to keep him holding the ball for a half a second. And the Green Bay Packers did a great job of showing him different looks. This is a 5-man pressure. The strong safety walks up, and the right tackle gets nervous. It's a false start. Then they come back. You got a 6-man up look, which Green Bay's looking like they're coming after Tom Brady. They dropped the 2 inside linebackers. Once again, forcing Tom Brady to hold the ball. This offensive line, they're young, they're inexperienced. They can't hold up a sack of Tom Brady, and you know that frustrates him more than anything.
No question. We've been around Kansas City. We know Tyrann Mathieu. He's the vocal leader they all leaned on. Now all that vocal stuff is going to fall on Nick Bolton, the 2nd-year linebacker. He leads this team right now in tackles. Let's go back in to Ahmed.
All right, thank you, guys. Vikings, Saints, vocal leader for them, Kirk Cousins. You like this? Well, you like this game. First international game of the season in London. Back and forth, deep to Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, what else is new? Find Justin Jefferson. He was one-on-one with Marshawn Lattimore a lot late in the game, and they found him, and he made a lot of big plays.
Led to a go-ahead field goal. Andy Dalton getting his first start. Jameis Winston out hurt. Wow, big play down the middle. Chris Olave.
Wow, great throw. Great job by Chris Olave, the rookie out of Ohio State, and it gives him a chance, Ahmed.
They could get no closer. 61 yards. No!
Double doink, Ahmed.
Doink. Will Lutz had a 60-yarder earlier in the game.
Just missed this one. This was a fun game. It was a great 4th quarter. The Saints offense still trying to find its way post-Sean Payton era here.
Their 3rd straight loss. The Vikings, they're 3-1, their best start since 2016. Jameis is like, we got it. We don't got it. Seahawks and Lions. Coach, you like scoring in this one. You like this game.
How about this? Geno Smith and the Seahawks were up early. They're up by 15. He was on fire all day long.
320 yards for Geno. They did not punt all game, converted a lot of big 3rd downs, including this one. Rashad Penny, 41 yards.
And then they got the running game going, but look at that score. Detroit just keeps coming back. They make them interesting every week, don't they?
Highest scoring game in the league since 2019. Seahawks do win that one. Gone final just recently, Cardinals and Panthers. Kyler Murray show.
Yeah, Kyler Murray show. It was an ugly game altogether. Carolina offense struggled, but Kyler Murray and the Arizona defense made enough plays to pull it out.
Cardinals 2-0 on the road this season. Bears and Giants.
Oh, look at those unis, baby.
Love the G-Man. Giants. Daniel Jones looks faster in them.
He does. I don't know what these unis do, but his legs are a big part of the Giants offense. It's Daniel Jones' legs, Saquon Barkley's legs are the best things we got going as Giants fans.
21-yard rushing touchdown, then he does it again. 8-yard rushing touchdown, 2nd career game with 2 rushing scores for Daniel Jones. They go on to win 20-12. How about the Commanders and Cowboys? The Cooper Rush show continues, Coach.
He just keeps rolling, and Michael Gallup is back. He's got more weapons around him. Coop on the move, throws a strike to Gallup in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, first game back for Gallup since he tore his ACL last season. Then CeeDee Lamb for the 30-yard score.
This used to be Aikman to Albert Harper on the corner post. Dino. Now it's Cooper Rush to CeeDee Lamb.
Good find by you on Cooper Rush, though. They can thank Jason Garrett.
Redheads, you got to stick together, man.
As well they should. I know you like the balance that they got here on offense, but man, oh man, that defense is super scary for Dallas.
It's unbelievable. This pass rush, start with Micah Parsons, but I'll tell you what, DeMarcus Lawrence playing as well as he's played in the last few years. They create one-on-one matchups up front, and they got the guys to get home. Look at Parsons, and then it gets contagious, Simsy. All these white shirts chasing Wentz. It was an ugly environment for him all day long.
No doubt. Dante Fowler, we see him coming off the edge. Neville Gallimore, defensive tackle, he's disruptive. But I think Coach said it too. Dan Quinn's ability, I got to give him a lot of credit for adjusting his defensive style since his days of being a head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. They're very multiple. They stress out the protection schemes of teams, and then you add it with the talent that Coach Garrett's talking about. It's wow. And then last thing,
Yes.
Can we just keep playing like this if Dak Prescott gets back and not get pass happy? Oh, Dak's back. Let's throw it 40 times a game. They're at their best when there is balance like you guys are talking about.
That's a good question. When will Dak come back? It is time for a PFT update brought to you by Google Pixel. Mike, when is Dak Prescott coming back?
Well, after today's game, guys, owner Jerry Jones said he has no way of knowing whether or not Dak Prescott will be ready to go next Sunday against the Rams. It all comes down to whether he can grip the football and control it without pain. Until then, it continues to be Cooper Rush. I spoke to him after the game. He said he thinks he's proven he can be a starter in the NFL elsewhere, and he's ignoring any noise about a potential controversy in Dallas, even if some of it is coming from Jerry Jones himself. There's no quarterback controversy with the New York Giants because most of their quarterbacks are currently injured. We saw Daniel Jones in his 2 touchdown runs. He injured an ankle. Backup Tyrod Taylor suffered a concussion on Sunday. And I'm told that they won't know Jones' status for next week until late in this week. And if they're going to sign anybody, they need to make sure the person has a passport because they're going to London to play the Green Bay Packers next Sunday morning.
All right, thank you, Mike. Yeah, what a wrinkle there for the New York Giants. Teams need their quarterbacks. Quarterbacks need their receivers and their weapons, too. Chris Godwin back active in this game. They got Mike Evans back as well. Julio Jones is back. Tom Brady's wide receivers playing tonight.
Football Night in America is brought to you by Applebee's. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood. By BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Please gamble responsibly. And by Geico. Save even more when you bundle home and car insurance.
Well, it's not an official game with Tom Brady at quarterback if you don't see this. Here's Brady running out of the field just while we're in break. His let's go a couple of minutes ago, and talking to the Buccaneers coaching staff on the field here before the game. It's been an odd week. It's been a little off balance. So Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs may have had the more normal week as they come in here to Raymond James Stadium in Tampa tonight. Hi, everyone. Mike Tirico. Welcome back to Football Night. Welcome to the field. Great anticipation, and we love visiting with both quarterbacks and talking about this matchup. They don't go up against each other, but they both know when the other guy's on the opposite sideline, it adds a little juice and energy. And for Brady, who's gone through all these big quarterback matchups, he relishes it and an appreciation. He said he loves the way Patrick Mahomes plays the game. It is unique, and that's the challenge for the Bucs defense tonight. We'll see you for kickoff in a little bit, but for more, back to Maria.
All right, thanks, Mike. Yeah, we saw both the quarterbacks taking the field, but what about the coaches? Let's talk about the coach that's got to deal with defending Patrick Mahomes. The good news is Tony actually got to catch up with Todd Bowles and what he's found out and learned from his experience of defending him in the past.
Bucs win the Super Bowl.
Probably your biggest game as an assistant coach, the Super Bowl, and you did scale back the blitzes. You got after Patrick Mahomes, but it wasn't necessarily with the blitzes, right?
No, it wasn't. You know, the first time we played them, that first quarter, they got up on us pretty good, and they ran by us a couple of times, and the guys were shaking a little bit. The DBs were, because they were younger. And in the middle of the second quarter, we went too high, and we kind of calmed it down a little bit. And after the game, when we lost the game, I said, if we ever play them again, I know exactly what I'm going to do.
Flash forward to the Super Bowl because he did know exactly what to do. But what was it, Tony, that allowed him to contain Patrick Mahomes in Super Bowl 55?
Well, Maria, you have to understand, Todd Bowles was a defensive back. He's a defensive coach. He loves aggression. That is his personality. And that's what he did in the first game. Single safety in the middle of the field, bump and run coverage, get after these guys, try to pressure the quarterback. But he said he learned from that, and he talked about going too high the next time. What he means is I'm not going to give him those shots that dare them to throw up the field. I'm going to put 2 safeties back there. I'm not going to give him blitz looks. I'm going to mix my coverages, double coverage, see if he can be patient. They did this throughout the Super Bowl. Rushed 4 guys, covered with 7, tried to clog those areas and let their pass rush work. I think we're going to see a lot of that tonight.
All right, it worked in the last meeting. Ended up being Patrick Mahomes threw 2 interceptions and only threw for 270 yards in that loss in Super Bowl 55. So the question remains, how do they guard Patrick Mahomes? One thing we know for sure is that both of these teams have been at the forefront of inclusion and empowerment for women in football. In fact, in the past 4 years, the Bucs have hosted the country's largest girls flag football tournament, and Florida is on a growing list of states that includes girls flag as a varsity sport. Meanwhile, the Bucs and Chiefs feature a few of the many trailblazing women in the NFL. Tampa's coaching staff includes Lori Locust and Maral Jaffa-Dafar, and these women and many more are featured in the Earnin' It series that's available on Peacock. And for more, you can always follow On Her Turf on all social media platforms and on NBCSports.com. We'll be right back.
This is what happens when we get together. And now we're rolling.
Catapults into the end zone. He's got a lane.
Steps up, fires, touchdown.
Mahomes for the end zone. The Chiefs put the hammer down. That's the dagger, my friend. Brady looks toward the end zone.
Yes, sir. Touchdown.
This is best against best.
This is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
We're getting set for kickoff. This could quite possibly be Tony's favorite part of the show. Retro jerseys, Coach.
The old creamsicles, yes. And then Mike Allstott, the truck.
We saw Warren Sapp out here, Gronkowski.
Some new wave ones,
yeah. Dawson, Len Dawson, Coach.
Well, that's from Kansas City, and there were a lot of Kansas City fans out there tonight.
And it was hard to tell who was who because we were all red. And then we've got, of course, the GOAT, Retro GOAT from Michigan. And then Brady at the Patriots. Let's talk about that offense, though, because Tom Brady does get some weapons back. Julio Jones, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans all expected to play here today. But let's take it to the trenches, Coach, and what you expect to see from that Bucs offensive line.
Well, as always, they have to protect Tom Brady, but I think a bigger thing tonight for offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich, they want to pound the football. They weren't able to do it against Green Bay. I think he's going to challenge those guys to run block for Leonard Fournette tonight.
All right, we'll see. And Tom Brady, only 3 passing touchdowns in those past 3 games, so we'll see if he can get it going through the air as well. But I don't know if you saw this, Coach, but this week, the Bucs linebacker Shaq Barrett was asked about the revamped Chiefs offensive line. It features 4 different starters since the last time they met in the Super Bowl, and Barrett said, I really don't think it's too much of a difference. I think we have a lot of favorable matchups, some bulletin board material, but
yeah.
Would you agree?
I saw it, and I promise you those Chiefs offensive linemen saw it. But their challenge tonight is going to be just that. If Todd Bowles does what we saw on the tape, cover with 7 men and only rush with 4, that offensive line has to give Patrick Mahomes time so that they can find ways to get open against 7 men in coverage.
All right, according to Barrett, they're going to dominate this game. The guys have already been dominating the show.
Be careful what you ask for, Shaq.
Listen, Jack Collinsworth, Rodney Harrison, let's get your take.
Maria, that was a nice little catch, too. Paper flash. She just puts a hand right on it. We're looking at these next-gen stats powered by AWS. Shows Kansas City's been looking deep less frequently with the Cheetah now down in South Beach. So how does your defensive mind view Kansas City without Tyreek Hill?
Well, this is still a really good defense because you have Andy Reid, a great play caller. You still have the best tight end on the planet. But when I look at this wide receiving core without Tyreek Hill, nothing about him scares me. Right. And I look at Juju Smith-Schuster in the slot. I want to see him get back to bullying people, being physical. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I want to see him become more of a complete receiver as opposed to just a deep guy. Mecole Hardman, he's been in the system a long time. He should be their #1 receiver. He has to play a little bit more consistent. And then for Patrick Mahomes, you got to be able to create separation. You got to be able to create separation and take some shots down the field, put some pressure on the Tampa Bay safeties.
You're right. This is a young group of running backs, too, for Kansas City. It's built to headline first-round pick Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But how do you see that backfield as a whole?
I look at Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he's been absolutely average as a first-round draft choice. I'm excited to see Isaiah Pacheco. I want to see this young guy. He's got some talent. Let's see if Andy Reid gives him opportunity.
And they seem to really like Pacheco, too. 7th-round pick. Good lesson how much value there is among running backs as you get to those later rounds. Now for the Bet MGM breakdown, let's go to Chris and Matthew.
Well, that's the big story, right? I'm here with Matthew Berry, and we want to see Todd Bowles. He might play this cover 2 defense, be conservative. Will the Chiefs run the ball? What do you think the opportunities are going to look like for Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
I don't think they're going to be very good. Again, Buccaneers' 5th best run defense in the NFL, and so far this year, the Chiefs have not run the ball. They're bottom 10 in rush attempts. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, their former first-round pick, hasn't had 9 rushing attempts in a game this year. I don't think it happens tonight either as well. This game is going to be decided on Patrick Mahomes' arm.
Yeah, stop pretending you're a run team, Kansas City. Find more ways to throw screens and things and keep the ball in the hands of the best player on your team, and that's number 15. That's right, Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes magic time. And this is what's brilliant about the guy. We know what he can do outside the pocket, but inside the pocket, the magic. Are you kidding me with this throw right here? Look at the feet. They're cockeyed. It's a tight window throw. Hey, no problem. 25 yards down the field. This one's even better. Playing the Los Angeles Chargers, recognizes there's no safety in the middle of the field. No, most quarterbacks are not going to even attempt that play right there, let alone throw a strike from 50 yards away with both feet off the ground. Mahomes is unbelievable. We know that. What else are you looking for in this passing game with the Chiefs tonight?
Well, you heard Rodney say, I need those Chiefs wide receivers to step up. I think Juju Smith-Schuster does that today. Buccaneers 7th most yards allowed to the slot, which is where Juju lines up the most. I expect a big game from him tonight, along with Travis Kelce.
Ahmed, Matthew Berry likes Juju Smith-Schuster a lot.
How do you not like that guy? I also like a lot of the guys on the Buccaneers offense here. We talked about the wide receivers who they have back. Evans back, Godwin's back, Julio's back. It's been tough sledding for the Bucs offense. Is that the key to getting them back on track?
Those guys are elite players, among the best in the league. So when you put those guys out there, Tom Brady in that offense gets better. But a real issue on this team has been the offensive line. 3 new moving parts in the interior of that offensive line. It's a work in progress. And the other part of this thing with all the new faces is too many unforced errors, pre-snap penalties have put them in bad situations. But getting those guys back outside will help smooth everything out. And don't bet against that guy right there, number 12.
You heard Maria mention it. 3 offensive touchdowns through their first 3 games for Tom Brady. Perhaps they get back on track here today. You can download the BetMGM Sportsbook app. New customers will get their first risk-free bet up to $1,000 when you use the bonus code NBC1000. Got a score alert. Game just wrapped up moments ago. Good one. Overtime thriller. Patriots-Packers. Packers have won again in OT. Mason Crosby with the field goal. Full highlights of this one coming up in a bit. But when Aaron Rodgers says early in the year, relax, we should listen to him. Relax. They've won again.
Welcome to the Hyundai Sunday Night Kickoff.
Raymond James Stadium is where we will close out week 4 of NFL football. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs on the road taking on Tampa Bay. Patrick Mahomes in his 5th season as the Chiefs starting QB. He's an MVP, he's won a Super Bowl, but he's trying to even up the score against that guy, Tom Brady. Right now they're 3-2. If he gets a victory today, it will be 3-3 in the 6th meeting between these two as we go on the field, presented by Hyundai, and start with Leonard Fournette. Rodney.
And Coach, I'm looking at Leonard Fournette. They have to get him involved in the running game. The offensive line, they have to do a better job of blocking up front. You mentioned healthy wide receivers, which takes the safety out of the box. That should really open up some opportunities for him, and he's an excellent receiver out of the backfield. He's been their best player on offense.
You've told me for 14 years the secret to playing Tom Brady is get pressure inside. For the Chiefs defense, that means Chris Jones has to have a big night. He's active, he's quick, but he has got to rush well tonight for the Chiefs.
Also for Kansas City, I'm looking at the greatest tight end in the National Football League is Travis Kelce. And Coach, I'm really interested to see how they play him. If they're going to be physical, jam him, slow him down off the line of scrimmage, and if they're going to double team him in the red zone, if they're going to double team him on 3rd down. You can't just let him release and go up the field.
And we heard Todd Bowles talk about 2 deep safeties. One of those will be Antoine Winfield. He's usually near the line of scrimmage, a lot of blitzing. We won't see that tonight. We'll see him back getting in double coverage on Kelce and the other receivers.
All right, guys. Well, it's not very often when we get to watch 2 guys from 2 different generations that are ultimately GOATs of the game, and we're getting that right here with Patrick Mahomes going up against Tom Brady for the 6th time. I had a chance to chat with him about his friendship with Brady on and off the field. Take a look.
Well, welcome to your own personal press conference.
Oh, I like it. You want to not like Tom, but he's just like the best guy. So it's hard to not like him.
Let's go!
What have you learned from Tom Brady just watching him on the field?
On the field, he's always getting better. He's going to manage the game. He's going to make plays when he needs to make plays. At the same time, he's not going to make that big mistake. So you got to go out there and play a near-perfect football game to win. And I think everyone knows that he's never out of it. And that's what I want to do. I want to keep getting better as my career goes on so that I can play, maybe not as long as him, but pretty long as well.
At the age of 27, right? Do you see yourself playing at 45?
I'll try to. I just don't know how he does it. I want to play as long as I'm still playing great football. I'll say that. And I think if I can continue to make my body in better and better shape, and I can continue to learn through the coaches that I have and the players that are around me, that I'll try to play as long as I can. Hey, you're a legend, man.
Yeah, let's keep in touch.
Yeah, for sure.
The conversations you've had with Brady, you said that he's given you some good advice. What are some of those things that you lean into?
The first thing was after the AFC Championship game when we lost to him. I mean, obviously, I'm upset, sad, and I'm sitting in the locker room forever. And I start to walk out, and he's there waiting. All he said to me, he said, hey, just keep doing it how you're doing it. You're doing it the right way. And as a young quarterback, when the GOAT's saying that, he's saying you're doing it the right way, it kind of shows you that you are doing it the right way. And so that was big for me. And then after that, just the conversations of just how he does stuff in the offseason. I mean, he won't give me all the secrets yet, but hopefully one day I'll get all the secrets and kind of can put those into my game.
Maybe when he actually retires.
Yeah,
give you the secrets.
I'm trying to beat him. So as long as I can play a little bit longer, I might be able to beat him before he retires.
I should have said if he actually retires, but we could have Mahomes magic until 2024 if he keeps playing another 18 years like Brady. But you know what it's like to play with Tom. You know what it's like when he's going against generational talent. So what do we expect from the Bucs and Tom?
I played with Tom for 6 years, Coach, and it never mattered what the score or the situation was. We always knew that we had a chance to win, and that's why I got my first ring.
Yeah, an amazing thing, we saw that on the interview. You think Tom Brady, quarterbacks, big rivalries, but he has such respect for talented players. People thought he and Peyton were such a big rival, but he was at Peyton's Hall of Fame induction, wouldn't miss it. That's the kind of respect these quarterbacks have for each other.
Yeah.
Despite what you read.
Hey, listen, all the friendship and respect is cute, but it's going to end as soon as Toe meets leather and we kick this bad boy off. As a matter of fact, I want to bring up some more bulletin board material. Let's go back to 2005 in February. Mahomes was 9. He picked against Brady and Rodney in Super Bowl 39.
And it just shows you once he's done playing, he would never be an analyst, because how can you pick the Philadelphia Eagles over the Patriots?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's a good thing he's a talented quarterback because he's not much of a scout, right?
My favorite thing was he's like, the Eagles are just the better team. Period, dot, nothing. Sorry, Rodney. Let's go back to the studio. Ahmed?
His analysis was short and to the point. That's what they tell us all the time. We got 4 more games to show you here. The highlights are just in. Broncos going for their 3rd straight win, taking on the Raiders. Got 1 play to show you, 4th quarter. Josh Jacobs 7 yards out.
Yeah, he was the story of the second half, Ahmed. Really, from late in the second quarter on, the Raiders controlled this football game, controlled the clock, had way more plays on the field than the Broncos.
Raiders' first win of the season. If you are just watching this game, hello, welcome to the program. Patriots and Packers. Brian Hoyer making his first start with Mac Jones out. Got sacked by Rashawn Gary. Bailey Zappi had to come in because Hoyer left with a head injury. So Bailey Zappi, the rookie out of Western Kentucky, making his NFL debut. Wasn't too bad, trailing in the 3rd quarter, looking for Devontae Parker here.
I love this poise. Look at him in the pocket. Let the play develop down the field, and he lays the ball. Nice touch. Good decision, a good throw. Looking comfortable out there.
First touchdown pass by a rookie this season. 4th quarter, Packers down 7. Rodgers looking for Romeo Doubs, another rookie.
They raved about Romeo Doubs during training camp. He's coming alive the last couple of weeks. He's got great hands. That back shoulder looks familiar, doesn't it?
We've seen that before.
24 all overtime. 3rd down, Rodgers to Randall Cobb, 1st down, and then later in the drive, setting up Mason Crosby, 31 yards. That's automatic.
How about the short yardage situation? They go play action. He finds his old buddy, Randall Cobb, in the middle of the field. Crosby finishes it for him.
Bill and the Patriots 1-3 for a 2nd straight season. Green Bay gets the victory in OT. Maybe the game of the day, the Doug Peterson Bowl. Jaguars and Eagles got the standing ovation from the fans there at Philly. Of course, he's got a statue out front. His Jaguars led early, but then it was the Jalen Hurts show.
It really was, and this was a gutsy drive. All momentum was on Jacksonville's side. What a run. Physical run by Jalen Hurts right there.
Tie game in the 2nd quarter. Kenneth Gainwell. Eagles take the lead. 29 straight points after trailing 14-0. And Trevor Lawrence, not a day that he's going to remember fondly.
No, it was not a good day today by him. He was bad in the pocket, kind of just lost where he was a few times, held the ball too long, didn't hold the ball with 2 hands. So he lost a few fumbles, certainly, threw some bad interceptions. Jacksonville hopefully will learn from this one.
5 turnovers for Lawrence, 4 fumbles, and 1 interception. Philly, the only undefeated team in the NFL. Bills and Ravens, Josh Allen scrambling, as he's wont to do, the 11-yard touchdown run.
They were down 23, scored before the half. Then Josh Allen's feet got him another one, tied at 20-20. Huge decision here by Baltimore going for it on 4th down.
So here it was, tie game, could have taken the field goal, gone up by 3. And it's not only no good, it's picked in the end zone.
Usually when you go in that situation, you get the opposing offense backed up. It's a touchback. They get on the 20. Josh Allen does the rest.
Jordan Poyer with the pick there, and then maybe a little help from the officials.
Bad call. I love Josh Allen. That's a bad call.
Roughing the passer called. Bills pushing down the field. Singletary elects to go down here, does not go in the end zone.
Hey, this is the no Moss situation. We want no more. We're going to run it, get close, but we're not scoring the touchdown. They take a knee, and then they kick the game winner.
So they get the win. A decision made by John Harbaugh that he will be talking about for a while. Was certainly talking about it after the game.
I felt like it gave us the best chance to win the game, because 7, the worst that happens is if they go down the field and score, and I think we'll get them stopped. But if they go down the field and score a touchdown, the worst thing that can happen is that you're in overtime. Hindsight, you could take the points, but if you look at it analytically, I understand why we did it.
All right, time now for the Sunday night game flow presented by Progressive. Coach, do you agree with that decision by John Harbaugh?
There's a lot that goes into this thing. John Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in the league because he makes aggressive decisions. He's done this all throughout his career, and his team responds to them. I would have taken the points there just to go ahead and put the pressure back on Buffalo. The biggest issue, though, was the interception.
Right.
Instead of the incomplete where Buffalo's backed up, it's an interception. They get on the 20. It's a different environment for Buffalo coming back the other way.
No doubt about it. And then the other guy that creates a different environment for everybody, yes, is this guy named Josh Allen. A huge part of the comeback. Coach talked about it a little bit. First off, great drive right here to end the half. Then it's, hey, nobody's open. Who cares that it's a monsoon and it's raining? I can still throw 20-yard out routes, Coach. And then we know his ability to hang in the pocket, touch throws. It's the Josh Allen show. We saw 2 quarterbacks who were one-man bands today. Who does this other than Lamar Jackson? Defensive lineman, roar, just get off me. First down, no big deal. And then the great screen pass here to Devin Singletary. We're going to see a magic man tonight with Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen created some magic today.
Josh is incredible, but nobody ever talks about Sean McDermott. This guy's an outstanding coach. He's built a great program up there. They had the tough loss in Miami last week.
Right.
Down 20-3. They come back. The mental toughness he's built up there, it's fantastic. Yeah. He's a hell of a coach.
Put a lot of responsibility on that right arm of Josh Allen for good reason. Bills get the comeback win. That was the Sunday night game flow presented by Progressive. Time now for Sunday Night 7 featuring a $100,000 jackpot, Matthew Berry. So more receiving yards and touchdowns, Matthew. Travis Kelce or Mike Evans?
Well, there's 2 separate questions, so let's start with the receiving yards, and I'm choosing Travis Kelce. You heard me talk earlier in the show about how you can attack the middle of the field against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kelce, who's gotten at least 7 targets in every game this season, has less competition, as I think Brady will want to get Godwin and Julio Jones involved. As for the touchdowns, give me Mike Evans here. Get this, in 34 career games that Evans has played with Tom Brady, he's got 28 touchdowns. He's a pretty good bet for a touchdown today.
Make your picks. Make your picks for free on the NBC Sports Predictor app right now. Chiefs and Bucks, 2 real good offenses, 2 real good offensive coordinators. Eric Bieniemy for the Chiefs, Byron Leftwich. We're going to see those guys as head coaches one day. Chiefs and Bucks, minutes away. But first, we want to show you the best of Week 4. That is brought to you by Verizon, the network America relies on. You just saw it. Ravens led 20-3, but never count out Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Ravens had a chance to go ahead by a field goal, elect to go for 4th down. No dice.
Huge interception by Poyer at the end of this thing, giving Buffalo some field position coming back the other way. Josh Allen drives him. Tyler Bass makes the game winner.
Buffalo 3-1. They're visiting next against the Pittsburgh Steelers. How about Washington and Dallas? No Dak Prescott. No problem for the Cowboys.
No problem. I mean, balanced offense. Big throws by Cooper Rush to C.D. Lamb right there.
The Dino Post.
Dino Post right there. Cooper Rush and Jason Garrett gem.
Dallas 3-0 with Rush as a starter. Jacksonville and Philadelphia, not a good day for Trevor Lawrence. 5 turnovers for him.
Hey, Philly's the best team because they're the most complete team. Offense, defense, took the ball away 5 times from Jacksonville. That was the difference.
That is the best of Week 4, brought to you by Verizon, the network America relies on. Now we go back out to Tampa and Maria.
Thanks, Ahmed. Thousands of people are gathered here in Raymond James Stadium, but millions have been affected by Hurricane Ian and that devastation. But you can see Florida Strong T-shirts here. You can see calls to action here on the billboards, and ultimately all of this fan base thinking about those who are in need.
And I think that's the way people feel here. We were very, very blessed to be spared, but everybody in Tampa knows people who were affected. So I think the feeling is tonight, let's go out and play a great game and give people some relief.
Yeah, tonight, Levante David, the veteran linebacker for the Bucs, will be running out with the flag, and he'll represent the recovery efforts for Hurricane Ian for the Bucs. But it's time now for the home team picks, brought to you by Lowe's. And America, Mike, Matthew, and Ahmed are on the side of the Chiefs. Chris and Jason and Jack are taking the Bucs. I am going to go with the Chiefs, guys.
You're 1-3, right?
Yeah, I'm struggling.
Coach, I saw Julio Jones. I see Chris Godwin out here. Man, them legs look fresh. They look ready to go. I'm riding with the Bucs.
Well, we got great quarterbacks, great receivers, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring defensive game. I'm picking the Bucs because I think they'll put more pressure on the passer tonight.
I mean, I'm surprised that we're talking about 2 teams coming off the loss with Patrick Mahomes and Brady led in that center pocket. What would you say, which quarterback is going to have the best performance?
I would say Tom, because he's getting his receivers back. He seems like he's comfortable. I say Tom.
I agree.
All right, we're going with Tom Brady. I'm going with the Chiefs, and those were tonight's home team picks, brought to you by Lowe's. All right, we're all set. We're ready here in Tampa. It's going to be Mahomes and the Chiefs against Brady and the Bucs. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, and Melissa Stark have the call after Carrie Underwood kicks us off. We will see you at the half.
This has been the Hyundai Sunday Night Kickoff. Spanish language audio provided by Telemundo Deportes. Or watch tonight's game in Spanish on Universo.